In this video, we're going to share you the one tip that you can use to switch up how you come across and really wow people that you work with, that you encounter, and that could potentially accelerate your career. I know there's a lot of students watching this video, and of course, you're going to be starting to look for remote or sometimes non-remote internships, apprenticeships, ways of accelerating your career. Maybe it's even just within school itself. You know, there's projects and stuff, and new teachers, new people that you're going to have to impress. I found this technique through a lot of study of career development gurus online, and it's basically the plain English technique. That's the term that Ramit Sethi, one of these gurus, coined it as. However, you know, he's not the only one who's mentioned it. Basically, what you find out is that oftentimes when people try and impress someone, they end up using a lot of jargon and technical nonsense. They think that these like sophisticated fancy words will impress someone, but in reality, it just serves to confuse them, or it just feels like a lot of wishy-washy vague stuff. So I have a real example in front of me, and I'm going to read some of it, and you let me know, maybe even in the comments. I hear that helps the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm, I don't know, what you think of this description of this person. Establish the go-to-market strategy, multi-channel program, and global marketing team. A cloud supply chain innovator serving retail and consumer brands prior to and following its merger. Now that's just one sentence. I mean, this goes on for paragraphs and paragraphs. As chief outsiders, fractional CMO for 7 tech ventures, implemented insights-based go-to-market strategies, built high-impact marketing teams, and established a platform for accelerated marketing expansion. I think you get the idea here. Now, this is a person who's probably fairly established in his career, and he's doing some things right to make it so far, but clearly there's definitely room for him to grow in terms of getting to that top performer level. Now, what do I mean by this? When you understand human psychology and real kind of top performer know-how, you realize that what's the end goal here? The end goal is to really wow the people that you come across. Unfortunately, I think what people think they have to do is they just got to stuff their explanations of themselves with all this jargon to sound fancy. But really, what does the other person really care about? And the answer is usually something very simple. How much money did you make for the bottom line? What did you actually do to deliver that? Or if it's not money that they're after, it's usually something else. Like, how many people did you really affect with your product? So instead of this jargon, how do you say that in plain English? There's a Reddit community called Explain Like I'm 5. Now, you don't have to go to a 5-year-old, but what about if you explained it like you're explaining to someone who's 10 or 15? This jargon, although kind of fancy, anyone can use those words. And, you know, people who really didn't do much can stuff their, their discussion with something like this. So if I were to rewrite this, I'd just say something like, I directed 7 tech ventures that led to 314% growth in net profit for all of them in aggregate. Or something like this. Instead of go-to-market strategy, multi-channel program, and global marketing team, let's get more specific here. I led a marketing team of 109 people, and it led to a reach of 216% increase on Facebook and a 119% increase on YouTube audiences, which was ultimately 7.4 million reach. You see what I'm saying here? It's more specific, it's more tangible, and it's actually showing what you've done. Now, even if you're not this is just an example. So, if you're a student, you don't have those great achievements, the same principle applies. Um, you know, this guy says helped to put C Solutions, a mid-market CRM services and Oracle partner, on the map while launching a new on-demand analytical service and establishing a strategic framework for global scale. Anyone can establish some type of strategic plan or framework. It's very intangible. However, you may not have those accomplishments that this executive has, but you do have things in your network that, at scale relative to your peers, is just by a tweak of a phrasing, can land you that apprenticeship, that spot that you want at that organization you want. So let's say you have nothing, or you think you have nothing. There's definitely stuff that you can build, first off, like a school project. Maybe you learn Photoshop on your own and you build certain things. Now, consider these two ways of positioning that once you've built some skills or experience. You could say, proficient in the subsidiaries of creative art software that can help accelerate the programs, blah, 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 blah. Or you could say, I'm a self-taught Photoshop expert. Maybe even expert. You don't even have to oversell yourself. I'm a self-taught Photoshop proficient, designer. I'm also well versed in Adobe Premiere Pro and Sony Vegas for video editing. I've built these into my own YouTube channel. So that's just one thing. And if I hope people don't get caught in the specifics. Oh, I don't want to do video editing or marketing. That's fine. You can use the same principles for engineering or programming. I taught myself, let's say, Java and JavaScript, and I built this little web-based video game that ultimately, XYZ. You can see what I'm saying here. Do things that actually make sense and actually care about. I've personally found that people who, there's two camps of people. There's people who intentionally use fancy words like vivacious or audacious or bigotry or, you know what I mean. And then there's the people who realize that I know those fancy words, I could use them, but I choose not to because the simpler words work better. And that's a huge difference. I think, depending on the audience, both approaches could work. For a more like small-minded audience, they'd be very impressed by those big words. But, you do get to a place, and a lot of politicians are really good at this. They understand the crowd. They know the crowd. And they know, and this is why, when you analyze Trump's language, it was at like a 6th grade level. Because those are words everyone understands. It makes sense. They get it. And that's what matters most. So that's a great communication tip. Use it as you see fit. I think this one's very versatile to be used in a lot of different career development areas. Thanks for watching. See you later.